All right, class, who's ready to begin with Lab 1? So in this lab, we're going to be looking at the soil survey maps actually put together by the NRCS. If you've never heard of the NRCS is the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and it's actually part of the USDA. So the Natural Resource Conservation Service, or the NRCS, has put together a lot of information on soils. So if you just Google NRCS soils, it will actually take you to this site. You can go to this site by it. And they have a lot of information on this site about soils if you want to dive into it more. You can look into a lot of stuff dealing with soil health, soil surveys, and what we're going to be dealing with more today is these soil surveys. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Home here. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this online web soil survey and then start this web soil survey. So that's kind of a long way to get to it. But I'm going to also show you a different place. So if we go back into Moodle, and we go under this week 2 section and we go down to our labs, there's that soil survey map right there. So we can actually click on that map right there and it's going to bring up the soil survey. So now that we're in this map, what we need to do is we need to identify an area of interest. So I'm going to go through a couple of areas of interest. The first place that I'm going to go to identify is actually the Casper College Ranch campus. I want to see what kind of soil is at the Casper College Ranch campus. So the way that you operate this map is we've actually got some different toggles up here, and I will forewarn you, this map or this system, there's a lot of information in it, so sometimes this website bogs down. You've got to refresh the page. If that happens, I'll tell you how to do that here. So I want to zoom in on Casper, Wyoming. So I've got it clicked right there with that little plus sign, that zoom in, and then you can see I've got crosshairs where my mouse is. And I'm just going to highlight the state of Wyoming. And that's going to bring in that state of Wyoming. It's going to bring it in closer for me. Now I know that the ranch campus is right here in Natrona County, so I'm going to zoom in again. Now, if you're good enough that you know where your location is, you can actually zoom in really quickly. So I know that the ranch campus is going to be somewhere right around here at Casper, right outside of Casper, and I'm going to try and zoom in pretty closely. Now, where the ranch campus is right down Zero Road. So we're not quite zoomed in enough that it's starting to give us road maps just yet. So we're going to have to kind of guess and check. I think Zero Road is right around in here. So I'm going to actually zoom in right in there and see if that's my right area. Hot dog, I got it right. So this right here is actually the ranch campus. So next thing I need to do, now that I'm zoomed in pretty close on the ranch campus, there's the ranch campus. I want to know what the soils are. So now I need to identify the boundaries of that soil or of that property. So there's a couple of different ways to identify what's known as an area of interest. And this is basically going to be the boundaries of that property. So to identify the boundaries of the property, now that we have it zoomed in enough, is we can either define the area of interest at IOA by this rectangle, or we can identify this AOI, area of interest, by this polygon. So this ranch campus, I know that the borders start right here. It'll go over here into this kind of this swampy area, this dry patch, a little bit of alkaline soil right there, and then it's going to kind of follow this this canal, and it's going to follow that water canal over, and then it's going to come back up and then meet back up on that road right there. So this obviously is not a square. No, it's not. So I'm going to identify this area of interest with a polygon. So I'm going to click on that polygon, and I'm going to come right here in this corner. And then I'm going to run over here to this corner. So I know that's where another corner is. And whenever I started, when I started right there, I clicked with my left mouse button. I'm going to run over here to this point right here. I'm going to left click again on my mouse. And now it's going to start creating this polygon. So I'm going to kind of follow this fence line. So I know it kind of makes another corner right here or another turn. So I'm going to click right there, run down here to this corner, click right there, and I'm going to come down to about right there. And I can see it, this kind of makes a sweeping corner. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click multiple times as I'm working around that corner to kind of make a somewhat of a sweeping corner. And I'm just going to follow this property. So that's what I would like for you to do, especially if it's not a straight line, is just kind of follow the property boundary And every time that it kind of makes a corner or wiggles a little bit, weaves, dips, dodges, ducks, anything like that, we're going to just kind of keep following that and keep clicking on that. Now, whenever we get to this other corner, what I'm going to do is that's the last corner. That's the last click I need to make because we've got a straight line on the road. So I actually double click. So by double clicking, it creates that boundary. Now we can see that that whole area that I want, that's all going to be highlighted. And we see that it's got those blue lines crisscrossing saying, hey, this is that boundary. So what I want to do next, I want to go ahead and name this area. So I'm going to call this Ranch Campus. And what I want to do is right here on this AOI properties, I want to say Ranch Campus. Now let's say I didn't like where it was at. I could click right there and say clear AOI. But I like that. I like my property boundaries. I've got what I need to do. So therefore, I've already identified this. These are my property boundary. This is what I'm going to do. So essentially, that is how you create the AOI for that particular aspect. Next, we're going to go into this soil map. Now, the soil map, that's where it's actually going to start giving us what type of soil is on this property. So that's essentially what we're going to need to do for that. And I'm going to stop the video here and pick it up in the next video where we're actually going to start diving into what is this soil type.